You know this feeling? It's a random Tuesday night. You're scrolling Instagram, and then there it is. A friend from college standing in front of a brand new 3-bedroom house, holding up the keys. You double tap, you drop a little fire emoji, but underneath that, your stomach just tied itself into a knot. Then you switch over to your banking app. You stare at the balance, and somehow you feel guilty. Guilty over a $7 iced coffee you bought that morning. Maybe if I just cut out the coffee, you think I could actually afford a house. Let me stop you right there, right now, before that thought goes any further. That thought, that's not you failing. That's not proof that you did something wrong. That's exactly how the system wants you to feel. Right now, an entire generation is drowning under a manufactured sense of failure. You're paying off student loans with one hand and scrolling Zillow with the other, staring at houses you feel like you should be able to buy. Then a $400 car repair shows up out of nowhere, and just like that, your savings gone, wiped out. That little sense of security you had, it was never real to begin with. It took me a long time to actually see this. That age 30 checklist you keep measuring yourself against. The house, the savings, the car, all of it. It's poison, pure poison. It was built for a different economy, a 1990s economy, cheap housing, cheap tuition, room to make mistakes and still land on your feet. That world is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And yet somehow we're all still grading ourselves against it. We're using an old scoreboard to judge a completely different game. So if you haven't hit those milestones by 30, that's not a personal failure. It's not a character flaw. It's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's a macroeconomic reality. Somebody should have told you that a long time ago. That's the macro reality. Now let's put a number on it. Let's play a quick game. In your head, guess. What do you think the median savings balance is for an American under 35 right now? $20,000, $50,000. According to the actual data, it's less than $5,400. Think about what that actually means. Half the people your age, right now, today, have less than $5,400 to their name. So what does $5,400 even buy you in 2026? In a major city, that's barely 2 months of rent and groceries. That's it. One blown transmission, one unexpected trip to the ER in the same week, and it's gone. Poof, wiped out, back to zero just like that. Then something unexpected happens the moment you actually look around you. Almost everyone you know, even the guy in the $500 designer sneakers at your gym, is one bad month away from disaster too, and something shifts. That shame you've been quietly carrying, it starts to lift. You're not the only one struggling to keep your head above water. You're part of a generation being squeezed by an economy that stopped playing fair. And understanding that, really understanding it, is the cure for the anxiety you've been carrying alone. But be careful here, because there's a massive industry feeding directly off that panic. Ever notice how many finance gurus show up on your feed telling you that you're already behind? You know the type. Some guy standing outside an Airbnb mansion, leaning against a Lamborghini, pointing at the camera and yelling. Sometimes the luxury in the background is rented. Some creators build an image that's more expensive than their actual balance sheet. He tells you if you don't buy his $997 crypto day trading course, you're broke forever. He pitches some overpriced, fee-heavy life insurance policy as the secret wealth hack the elite don't want you to know. He's not trying to teach you anything. Let's be honest about that. He's hunting your insecurity, plain and simple. He knows fear is the best debt collector there is, better than any bank, better than any collections agency. Fear gets people to open their wallets faster than logic ever could. So hear me on this, because it matters. The only reason we build savings is to build a shield, what I call FU money. The ability to walk away from a toxic boss. The ability to sleep through a stock market dip without your heart racing. We are not doing this to fill some flashy consumption hole that an influencer designed for you. We're doing it for freedom. So if the old checklist is dead and the gurus online are lying, what are the real benchmarks for a 30-year-old? Let's drop the fantasy. Let's talk pure survival and pure growth. Old school advisors, the ones in the mahogany offices, will tell you that by 30, you need 1 to 2 times your salary saved for retirement. Make $70,000, they expect $140,000 sitting in your 401k. For most 30-year-olds, hearing that number doesn't motivate anything. It causes instant, total paralysis. You open one of those retirement calculators, the kind everyone shares online. You type in your actual savings, maybe $2,000, and the screen basically flashes a giant red, "You lose." It teaches you helplessness. You feel so far behind that your brain just checks out. You close the laptop, you order takeout, you buy another pair of shoes just to feel something good for 5 minutes. So let's throw that rule out. The real benchmark isn't a dollar amount at all. It's one single minimum action. Take full advantage of your company's 401k match. That's it. That's the whole benchmark. Everything else comes after. Doesn't matter if the market's up or down today. Doesn't matter if you don't understand mutual funds yet. Log into your HR portal. Click the button. Set your contribution to match what your employer offers. They match 4%. You put in 4%. That's free money, literally sitting on the table. Even if it's $50 a paycheck, the dollar amount isn't the point yet. The point is the shift happening in your head. You go from being a passenger, just watching your paycheck disappear every 2 weeks, to being an owner of your own future. You're finally paying yourself first. Remember that $400 car repair from earlier? That wasn't bad luck. That was a missing number in your plan. You've heard the term emergency fund. I actually hate that word. I call it anti-panic money. If your car engine blew today and your boss lets you go tomorrow morning, how many days could you actually survive before you couldn't afford groceries? You're benchmarked by 30, 3 to 6 months of anti-panic money sitting in a high-yield savings account. That's where most people trip up, though. You don't calculate this number off your current comfortable lifestyle. You calculate it off a skeleton budget. A skeleton budget is cold, it's ruthless, it's bare bones, nothing more. It strips out every ounce of lifestyle inflation you've quietly picked up over the years. No dining out, no happy hours, no new clothes, no premium cable package, nothing extra, just the bones. It's exactly 4 things: rent and basic utilities, cheap survival groceries. We're talking rice, beans, frozen vegetables, essential transportation, and health insurance. The bare minimum debt payments just to keep the collectors off your back. That's it. This money isn't for a new iPhone. It's not a down payment on a Tesla. I call it anti-panic money because I want you to picture something specific. It's a Tuesday. Your boss pulls you into a Zoom call. You're laid off. Without this money, your heart rate spikes. You can't breathe. You panic. But with 4 months of a skeleton budget sitting in cash, the reaction is different. You feel the sting, sure, but you take a breath. You close the laptop, you calmly update your resume. This money isn't about wealth. It's about buying your dignity, your peace of mind, and making sure you never make a desperate decision out of fear. You just built months of cash for the day everything falls apart. Here's what can burn through it in weeks. This is where people make the most dangerous, math-defying mistake of their entire financial life. Picture this. Your house is on fire. Smoke pouring out the windows, paint melting off the walls, the roof caving in. Would you calmly walk outside, grab the garden hose, and start watering your front lawn because you want the grass to look nice? Of course not. That sounds insane. Nobody would do that. But that is exactly precisely what you are doing when you invest in the stock market while you're still carrying high-interest credit card debt. Think of credit card debt as a backpack full of bricks, heavy, jagged bricks. You carry it everywhere you go, all day, every day. It drains your energy before you even notice it's happening. It eats the margin right out of your life. Let's do the cold math. Say your credit card is charging you 24% interest, and you're taking your extra cash and putting it into index funds, hoping for a 10% return. That's your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. You are moving backward. You are bleeding out financially every single day. Every month you carry that balance. You're handing hundreds of dollars to a bank just for the privilege of keeping your old debt alive. But flip it. Pay off a 24% credit card and you just guaranteed yourself a 24% risk-free return. Warren Buffett cannot get a guaranteed 24% return on Wall Street. You can. The second you hit submit payment on that balance. So your debt benchmark at 30 looks like this. Student loans? Fine. A reasonable car payment, okay? But credit card debt, that's all-out war. Pause the video for a second. Seriously, open a new tab, log into your bank, and look at your recurring subscriptions. How many have you actually used this week? If you're only paying the minimum payment on your credit card statement, you've fallen into a trap built by billionaires, designed, engineered, tested to keep you exactly where you are. That minimum payment is designed to numb you, to keep you comfortable, calm, unbothered, while quietly keeping you a financial hostage forever. It stretches a $3,000 weekend trip into a 7-year, $8,000 nightmare. 7 years for one weekend. So it's time to go from defense to offense. This is the debt avalanche method. Print your last 2 bank statements, grab a bright yellow highlighter, mark every charge that isn't essential. You will not like what you find. That $15 app subscription you forgot to cancel back in 2024. The $40 gym membership you haven't used since January. Cancel it, all of it. Every streaming service and subscription box you don't actually use. Now take every dollar you were quietly bleeding out each month, gather it into one weapon, aim it at the debt with the highest interest rate. Don't stop, stay obsessed until that balance hits zero. And when it does, that rush of relief, that momentum, it's intoxicating. You just went from defense to offense on your debt. Time to make the same move with your paycheck. There's a hidden tax on your paycheck, one nobody ever tells you about. I call it the loyalty tax. In a lot of industries, staying too long at one company can quietly cost you real income. Here's how it plays out. You work late, you take on extra projects, you do everything right exactly the way you were told to. And at your annual review, your manager smiles and hands you a piece of paper, a 3% cost of living raise. Meanwhile, groceries went up 10%, rent went up 8%. You are mathematically moving backward while working harder than you ever have. And the new hire sitting right next to you brought in at 20% more than you for the exact same job just because they came from outside the company. The way you make a real leap in your 30s is by job hopping. Use your skills to jump to a new company for a 20 to 30% raise. The real move happens right after, though. When that raise hits, you don't upgrade your apartment. You don't buy a nicer car to impress your coworkers. You keep living exactly like you did before. And you funnel every dollar of that new money straight into investments. Think like a Silicon Valley software engineer. One of the smartest people I've worked with pulls $250,000 a year and still drives a 12-year-old Honda Civic with a scratch bumper. Plain clothes, office coffee, walk around Palo Alto or Cupertino, and you'll see it everywhere. That same pattern repeated over and over. Why? Because they practice real, ruthless discipline. They know a nice car only buys you the fleeting approval of a stranger at a red light. But investing that income, that buys you a shield, that buys you the real prize, the freedom to walk into a toxic manager's office at 35, hand in your badge and say, "I'm done," without breaking a sweat. Buy freedom, not status. Maybe you're listening to all of this and you're 30, 31, 32, and your net worth is exactly zero. It feels like the game is already over, like the clock ran out before you even got started. Let me show you a bit of math that'll change how you think about your age. You still have the ultimate weapon on your side, time. Compound interest isn't a myth, and it doesn't care about your past mistakes. It doesn't judge you for the money you wasted in your 20s. It doesn't hold a grudge. It only responds to what you feed it, starting today, right now. Picture that graph. For the first few years, the line stays almost flat, boring, feels like nothing's happening. But then, as the interest starts earning its own interest, the line begins to curve, and eventually, it shoots straight up. Start right now at 30 from zero. Invest $500 a month into a boring, unsexy S&P 500 index fund. By 65, assuming average historical returns, you'll have over $1.7 million. Did you hear that? From zero to a millionaire, just by finding $500 a month and letting time do the heavy lifting in the background. 30 isn't the deadline where your financial life gets judged. 30 is the starting line. You have the time advantage, you just have to use it. But none of this matters if you fall into financial paralysis. You know the feeling, we all do. You watch a video like this one, the music gets you fired up. You feel that surge of motivation right in your chest. You tell yourself, okay, tomorrow everything changes. And then you close the app, you go to sleep, you wake up, work stresses you out all over again, and you do absolutely nothing. The gap between where you are and where you want to be just feels too wide, so your brain quietly shuts it down. So this is your challenge. You have exactly 48 hours to take one simple, brainless action. Pick one right now. If you're carrying credit card debt, go online today and apply for a 0% balance transfer card. Move that high interest debt over. Stop the bleeding right now. If you have no debt but no savings either, log into your bank and set up an automatic transfer. Move $100 from checking to your high yield savings the day you get paid. Automate it so you never have to think about it. And if you're already saving, log into your HR portal and bump your 401k contribution up by exactly 1%. You won't even feel it on your paycheck. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Break the paralysis right now. Remember this, the benchmarks were never the point. What you do next, that's the point. If this video helped you snap out of the money panic, hit like so it reaches someone else stressing over their finances today. Subscribe for more honest, no-nonsense money strategies. And I'll see you in the next one. Go make that move today.